Baruch the Yahweh, Baruch the Yahweh Shai, Baruch the Yahweh, Baruch the Yahweh Shai, Baruch the Yahweh, Baruch the Yahweh Shai. All praise unto Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Wahara Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles of GreatMillStone, and honors you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So I wanted to do a quick video going into the scriptures, and the main topic of this video was going to be the scattering of the 12 tribes of Israel. Which are predominantly the 12 tribes of Israel. We identify them as the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. So I was going to use this individual that you know as Eminem as bait into going into the edification, okay, into the information of the scriptures. And pretty much what I might title the video is, you know, can white people say the N-word? And the simple answer of the of that particular statement is it's not so simple, okay? And as I believe, as with this case, and as is in many other cases, you find that there is a lot of seed, okay, Israelite seed that was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, okay? And you know, it's a trivial, you know, statement, but there's a deeper point that's being made there. You know, the statement, can white people say the N-word? Or, you know, that's not really video worthy, but when you understand what's really being said, okay, in that the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered, then there's a deeper message, there's a deeper understanding that I'm trying to push out there. So don't just see the trivia. You know, if your brothers are, you know, in the truth and they've been here for a little while, you know, excuse me for the little bit of trivia in terms of the title of the video, but for the people that are coming in, Lord's will, it's gonna shed some light on what's really like a difficult kind of concept to understand, which is really simple. Okay, a man's children are his children. They're his seed. Okay, and their seed, depending upon the soil where that seed is been allowed to grow, okay, may look different from the father. Okay, and that's all going back onto prophecy, and it makes sense when you check out the rulership of the 12 tribes of Israel, especially when King David was in rulership, and when with King David in mind as well, we had all the women of the nations, man. Okay, and the thing about sons, they, you know, there's a saying that, you know, sons, okay, your son he's gonna pick a woman that's like really like his mother, okay, similar to his mother. I'm not saying he's gonna go out there and look for an identical person that's his that looks like his mother. That's a bit, you know, that's a bit off. But they say the characteristics that a son chooses is that of that he's seen growing up, and that makes sense, because if you have a mother figure, well, of course you're gonna look for that kind of mother figure and caring spirit, and what you would call a life partner. Kind of makes sense, because that's what you would hope that your children will get raised under. So there's a psychology to it. Okay, so let's say you have a son, and he's, you know, you're an Israelite man, you have a son with an Edomite. Okay, and that means your son is highly likely to have what? To have an Edomite woman. Okay, especially if you moved out into a particular place. Let's say you have a bunch of Jakes that you know, get carried away into captivity underneath the Romans. Okay, them individuals is gonna need women, right? So what are the women that are gonna be around them? They're gonna be all Edomite women for the most part, and that's what they was gonna be dealing with, and therefore their seed, over a period of time, maybe even 2 generations, that their seed was going to look like it was Edomite seed, but that's actually Israelite seed. Okay, so it says, and the Lord, this is Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and the 64th verse, and the Lord shall scatter thee from scatter thee among people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there ye shall be sold. There ye shall serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So Jake, okay, the Israelites, was going to be scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. That's part of the curses. In fact, when you think about power and a stronghold, when you could point at the Chinese and say those are the Chinese, then there's a certain amount of power within that. But you can't really point, okay, at a stronghold of Israelites out there where we are all underneath one nation and one ruler, because the Most High dwindled our power by scattering us throughout the four corners of the earth. But the beautiful thing is, the Most High is going to sift us through this word, okay, from among all people. Okay, the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, on the 9th verse. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel from among all nations like corn is sifted in the sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So the Most High is going to sift, okay, the jakes that are out there, okay, that look like other nations, okay. They might have the white eye, the white hair, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, but they're really Israelites, and you can see from their spirit that they're really Israelites. Okay, if they jive to this word, the Most High is gonna sift them out. Okay, the Most High is gonna sift them out from all of those nations, and when the Lord returns, He's gonna give them their pigment back. Remember, the scripture says that the Lord was gonna give us new bodies. Well, for the so-called scattered, the new bodies that they're gonna have is gonna have the pigment on them. Remember, when you go into the history of the scriptures, a lot of these nations like Moab, which is the Chinese, and Ammon, which is the Japanese, had pigment. Okay, when you go into the history, you find out that Esau was really the only one that the Most High put that mark on. But also Esau went out. One of the first things Esau did was he went out and he found the darkest woman that he could find on the planet Earth and popped her, so he can get away, so his children can come away from that mark. But the Lord maintained that mark within the earth. But that is to say, there's a lot of nations where Esau's mingled his seed amongst, which are not necessarily Edomites now. Like you might have the Edomite women get mingled up in the Moabite nation for a couple of generations, and the whole nation may look lighter. But the fact of the matter is, most of the nations on the earth had that pigment, and the Lord's gonna return Jake. All of the Israelites, they're probably gonna have their own. They're gonna have their pigmentation back. Okay, so now let me go and finish this scripture up. Finish this up within the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, and this is dealing with the promises. And if you're a Jake out there, you're an Israelite, or you believe you're an Israelite, but you might be feeling shy or feeling some type of way because you may look like one of the other nations. Well, this should give you some hope. This is the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, starting at the 3rd verse. So it says, "For I could wish myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren." Okay, brethren is the thing of, well, that's your brothers, right? My kinsmen is the thing of flesh. My kinsmen, according to the flesh, like it says, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the service of the Most High and the giving of the law. Now, if we go to the 25th verse, let's go to the 24th verse. All right, so it says, "Even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles, as he saith in OC, I will call them a people which were not called my people, but beloved, which were not called my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved." And this is what? This is the jakes that were scattered, as in the book of Hosea, and these are regarded as the Gentiles. So you're going to have a certain amount of jakes. And I did a video on this topic going in more depth, because you have to go through a handful of different scriptures to get clarity on that. But the main point being said is, the Gentiles that are spoken about within the scriptures, they're the Israelites that were spoken about within the book of Hosea, which is in the 1st chapter. And they was going to be scattered amongst the nations. Some of them was going to lose their pigment. Some of them was going to retain their pigment. But in the last days that we're in right now, the promises was going to pertain unto them. Okay, the giving of the Lord, the service of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the returning and the establishing of the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be on the earth. That's going to be with what? That's what's going to be with the 12 tribes of Israel, and that's when that's going to that's going to be you can, whether you can identify them out and out, or whether you're just going to have to see the person's spirit and be able to come, determine if they're a Jake. At the end of the day, this is whom the Most High was dealing with, the Israelites, and the scatter of the Israelites that are throughout the four corners of the earth. I mean, hopefully that made sense. With that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Waharakai Kardash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.